Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we are making a dish that I enjoy a lot as we move into fall. And yeah, I know it's 84 degrees outside because in Louisiana we don't really move into fall. We go from summer to winter. So anyway, when I planned out my schedule for recipes, I just thought, ooh, by the end of October it should be kind of cool. We could do this stew, it'll be fantastic. Yeah, it's 84. And I'm one of those weirdos that I like soups and stews and chilies when the weather's cold. When it's warm, it just doesn't feel like soup, stew, and chili weather to me. But anyway, it's going to be tonight because that's what we're having for supper. It's really good. I think you'll enjoy it. So I'm going to flick the camera down and we'll get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is roast our butternut squash. So you need this recipe will make, I think it's about 6 servings. So it's not a huge amount, 4 to 6, but it's, it's good to feed you, and it's doubles, triples, quadruples beautifully, because that's what I do at the restaurant. I'll make a huge batch of it. It freezes great, so it's really a nice one to do. But what I'm going to do, and you may have seen this in one of my other videos, I had actually roasted one when I was roasting spaghetti squash, and I had this off to the side. So Cynthia, here we go. This is what we're doing. So I just rub coconut oil all over my squash, and I'll do this with fresh pumpkins as well. It's super good. Just rub it down with coconut oil and pop it in a 400 to 425 degree oven, and I kind of give that range just because ovens can be a little different. And I'll put this in for about 30 minutes. My oven's a little kind of wimpy. And then when I can poke it and a fork goes in, without having to push or super hard, it just goes in. You don't want it too cooked. Then it's done and we'll pull it out. But my oven is preheating, so I'm going to set this off to the side and we'll get started with the other step. So we're ready to get started, and on the next step, I should say. So the spaghetti, why do I keep saying spaghetti squash? The butternut squash is in the oven. I've got the timer set. I did 25 minutes, and I thought I'll check it and see how it looks, go a little longer if need be. So what we're going to do now is, in a Dutch oven, stock pot, whatever, you're going to heat a tablespoon of lard. I use bacon grease. To me, they're very interchangeable. And 3/4 of a cup of Trilogy. Well, I've been a slacker lately and haven't made any Trilogy at home, so I just cut up 3/4 of a cup of onion and threw in about a tablespoon of minced garlic. So I've said 100 times in the menus, y'all, I don't know what my issue is today, in the videos, that if you don't have Trilogy, just cut up some onion and garlic. If you have celery, which I don't have any right now, throw it in there. But that's what I did because I've been in slacker mode apparently. So we're going to let this saute about 5 minutes to soften the onions. And then I'm going to turn this down a little bit. It's really, really hot. Then we'll add in a pound of breakfast sausage. I've got my Happy fresh pork sausage. It's their breakfast. It is so tasty. And we'll throw in a little bit of red pepper flakes. Let that cook until the sausage is almost done. This is really kind of a just dump it together type dish, which is always nice. The longest thing is roasting your butternut squash, and that's like not much hands-on time. And then from here, we'll add in some corn. I've got 10 ounces of organic corn. I've got 10 ounces of blue oyster mushrooms. You can use whatever mushrooms you want to use. Blue oysters, creminis, shiitakes, whatever you've got. I'll buy blue oyster from a local farm, from Milliman Mushroom Farm, in bulk, chop them up, and then vacuum seal them in 10-ounce amounts. And it's so super handy, because then I always have mushrooms on hand, even if, they're not fresh, so I'm not going to throw that in a salad. But to cook with, they're fantastic. Then we're going to throw the squash in, and I'll show you how we take care of that when it comes out of the oven. A little bit of seasoning, and then it simmers. Oh, and some stock. And that's all there is to it. It is so daggum easy. This is a really, really good dish to prep ahead because you can roast your butternut squash and either stick it in the fridge whole or clean it up or prep it like we're going to do here in a few minutes, which is, again, really easy. You can thaw your, thaw your pork sausage. Get it out in a minute. Mix in your pepper flakes or even just thaw it because, measuring pepper flakes takes 2 seconds. Have that done. Chop your mushrooms if you don't have them prepped ahead out in the freezer like I've referenced. And then it also calls for kale and rice. I don't think I mentioned those. You can have your kale torn up and, off the stem and ready to go. So anyway, a little bit of prep on the weekend and you can have this baby ready to rock in no time. So I'm going to pause and get my sausage open because I don't want to try and do that and dump it in here and have my hands all ultra goopy. But we'll get that in there and we'll let it brown and then stop and wait for our squash. Okay, I'm going to show y'all something. So there's my squash. Goodness, I need to go to bed. My sausage. You see that? When I opened my package, it all looked like that. See, the end looks nice and pink and it had that. All this is freezer burn. This package got shoved in the back of my freezer and got forgotten. And I just pulled it out. And so the outer layer is freezer burned. I wouldn't eat it. Not that it's going to make you sick or it's bad or anything. Let me move this pot out of the way before I burn myself. But it's just not going to have the best taste that it could. So I'm just taking a knife and just peeling this kind of freezer burn layer off. Y'all may be grossing out, but I'm like, I'm not wasting very high quality pastured local meat. That freezer burn part will go straight to my dog and she will love me more than ever. And see, what's inside looks perfectly fine. Get that little bit, get that little bit. And again, that freezer burn part wouldn't make me sick at all. There's nothing wrong with it as far as healthy and all that. It's just going to taste a little funky. But you cut that off and rock and roll. All that means is my stew is going to have a little bit less meat than it would. Not the end of the world. And we're good. So we're going to let our sausage brown. I'm going to add about 3/4 of a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Let this cook down. And then we'll wait for our squash to finish and go from there. Okay, here's something I'll show you real quick. I'm going to turn this off because my sausage is done. But remember, if you saw in the bottom of the pot, the garlic had kind of stuck to the pot and was turning brown and just getting kind of gummy in the bottom when I was sauteing my onions. This steam may be messing y'all up. But once you get the sausage in here and let it cook and it starts releasing some more fat and cooking, all that releases off the bottom of the pan. And that is some flavor. You do not want to lose that. So I was over here just kind of scraping back and forth, making sure it all came loose. Because that's the goodie that makes your dishes taste yummy. Okay, so I'll hush. We're waiting on the squash to come out of the oven, and then we'll move on. Okay, so here's something else we're going to do. I'm just showing y'all all the dirty behind-the-scenes stuff. I don't want you to ever think, you know, I am a normal person cooking in a normal kitchen with normal uh-ohs and normal, oh crud, I'm out of this, I didn't do that, whatever. It's real food. I don't have somebody prepping my stuff off to the side and having all my nice measured out junk. I'm doing it myself. Sometimes I don't do it right. But anyway, what we're going to do is, and I do this at the restaurant a lot, when we get into the colder weather, we serve soups. We'll have a soup of the week. So typically on Friday, we'll do a lot of prep for the soup, sometimes all the way up to the point of cooking it. It'll all be in the pot. Put a lid on it, stick it in the fridge. Let it sit through the weekend, pull it out Tuesday morning and cook it. It really makes for a very flavorful dish when all those ingredients get to sit and mingle together. So instead of sitting here and waiting for the squash to be done, prepping it, then moving on, we're going to go ahead and dump everything in the pot, have it all sitting here. Then the only thing left to do is the squash. So from here, if the squash was in here, you would stir in your bag of corn, or if you have fresh corn, that'd be even better, and your mushrooms. We like mushrooms. If mushrooms aren't your gig, you could back down the volume. I wouldn't encourage you to. There's a lot of medicinal value in mushrooms. If you get something besides the little white button mushrooms, they don't have much going for them, but the others do. So I encourage you to try those. Couple of cups of kale. I like to tear my kale up pretty small because, you've heard me before. I want a little bit of everything in my bite. I don't want to bite into one big thing. And then chicken broth. So here's another, what I was kind of babbling about a minute ago. I forgot to get my chicken broth out of the freezer this morning. I need 32 ounces, and I just happen to have a 24 and an 8 ounce. So there's my 32. It's still partially frozen. So what I'm going to do is, while we're waiting on, that one's almost thawed, that little chunk, while we're waiting on the squash to finish up, I'm going to go ahead and turn this on low and let it just heat up enough to thaw my stock. And one thing about stock, it comes apart pretty easily. See, I mean, it's been sitting out for a little while. It doesn't take real long. So, I'll just let this get good and melted. So then the only things left, let me get my salt in here. I need a half teaspoon of salt. So the only thing left from here is the rice, and we're going to do 1 cup of brown rice, and the squash. Well, the rice needs the broth, so I'm going to let it melt real good before I put the rice in here. And I really don't want the rice to just sit here and start trying to soak up the broth when it's not cooking. So we'll wait to add the rice when we add the squash, that hopefully should be out of the oven in about 10 minutes. And then this will just cook down, and it's thick and hearty and so very tasty. This is the kind of dish that I don't want to eat when it's 84 degrees outside, but whatever, I'll quit griping about that. That I want to get a big bowl of and go sit in front of the fireplace. And I just realized my camera fell. Well, that's awesome. So yeah, I'm going to pause now and wait for the squash. Okay, I just took the butternut squash out of the oven. You can see it's kind of dark. And I just want to show you on the kind of bulbous end where the little seed pocket is or whatever, it goes in pretty dang easy. On this end, it's a little tougher, and that's okay. You don't want it mushy. You just want to be able to get your fork into it. So that is done for what we're doing. Now, what I'll do just to help speed along the cooling process, because right now you try to handle that and you're going to be very unhappy. I'm just going to cut it in half. And when you do this, be super careful because that's really hot and you can really burn yourself. Voila. See, it's still a little hard in here, but that's okay because it's going to go in the pot for 30 minutes and it's going to get cooked in there. But it's, it's good around there. So we're going to let this cool really well, and then we'll come back and peel off the outer layer, scoop out the seeds, cut it up, and throw it in the stew. Okay, so everything is in our pot with the exception of, and I got my camera fixed, with the exception of our cup of rice and the squash. So what we're going to do is, this has been sitting here probably about 20 minutes, and it's still warm, but I can handle it. I mean, it's not just burning my fingers off like when it first came out of the oven. So all you want to do is scrape your seeds out, I'm going to take these out to my goats because they go absolutely nuts over anything squash. It's hysterical. It doesn't matter what kind of squash it is. If it's squash, they're going to be all over it. Let me grab a little knife. A little small paring knife is good to do this with. So I'm just going to cut it, and then you can take this, and usually, of course, it's probably going to make a liar out of me. You can kind of just peel it off. It's not wanting to peel real good. Sometimes it just pulls off in little sheets, or sometimes it's very contrary, like this is. And I'm having to cut, which I don't like to do because then I get some of the meat. I don't want to take any of the meat. I want all of it to go in my pot. Yeah, see, that did better. That's how it's supposed to do. So it just kind of depends. One thing about roasting them whole like this, there's a sweet spot of, oh my gosh, it's perfect. The skin peels right off. The meat is cooked just enough. And then there's the, it's not done enough, or my gosh, it's done too much and it's a mushy pile. So, but I just prefer to do it this way because I don't like trying to cut into those really, really hard squash. I mean, they're round, they slip around. I'm afraid I'm going to lose a finger. So now you just want to cut it into little cubes like that. Okay, so as I cut them up, I'm just going to throw them in the pot and miss. That's perfect. Now, as this cooks over the 30 minutes and it's cooking the rice, it's also going to continue to soften your butternut squash. So if it's a little hard, like see, that's kind of still hard right there in that little center part. Don't fret it. When you get it cut up and thrown in that chicken stock and it's simmering on low with the meat and the rice and the corn and onions and kale, and God, y'all, this is so tasty. Then that little bit's going to soften up. Well, this one's being difficult. I did one the other day, and it just about peeled, like just in sheets, and came right on off. So, you're seeing the hard one. Hopefully, you'll get one that's really super easy. I mean, not that this is hard. Good golly, this is about the easiest thing in the world to do. It's like peeling a potato or an apple, but it's just a little quicker when it comes off kind of in sheets. Okay. So now I'll take this part and cut it. And again, be careful, man. This stuff is slick and slips all over the place. You can lose a finger quick. You don't have to worry about uniform pieces. I'm usually pretty torqued up over uniform pieces in cooking because if you don't have uniform pieces, it's not going to cook evenly. But the squash is going to cook down and almost become mush in the soup. You'll have very few little chunks, so the size of the pieces don't really matter much. Okay, so I'm not going to make y'all sit here and watch me do the other half because it's just like this half. But I'm going to get the rest of the squash cut up. I'm going to add my cup of brown rice and then put a lid on it and let it simmer about 30 minutes. I'm going to check it, you know, like every 10 minutes, just kind of stir it around, make sure I'm not losing too much stock, because you don't want your stock to evaporate out and or absorb into your rice and it get too dry so that your rice doesn't cook, or worse than that, it burns your stew. But you don't want it super soupy. That shouldn't happen with this amount of stock. It's more about, is my rice going to get cooked appropriately? So I'll dump that stuff in there, let it simmer, and then I'll come back and show y'all the final product. And it's yummy. And there we are, the final product. Nice big hot piping bowl of butternut squash stew. I think y'all will really like it. It's so warming and comforting and filling and just full of nutrition. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you here on the next video.